What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to part 3 of the Vespa Super Electric build series. In previous episodes, we got the entire front end all built up, looking all nice. We also installed it back onto the frame, as you can see. Today, we're going to focus on the center mat and my least favorite part, the floor trim. Okay, you guys ready? Let's get going. All right, as you can see here, we got a brand new center mat and also brand new trim that holds it in place and some hardware. Over here, we have brand new floor trim, some rubber, and also the hardware that holds it in place. Now, my recommendation is, if you can save the factory floor trim that came on the bike originally, do so. Because aftermarket floor trim is an absolute nightmare to install. All right, especially if you've never done it before. But I get it. If you don't have the original, I'm doing my best to show you how to install these. Okay, so let's start with the center mat installation. Whoever painted this bike decided to fill in all the holes for the center mat. Luckily, I actually have a frame laying around that I was able to make this little template off of, and that will tell me exactly where the holes are supposed to be drilled. Let's start by getting these holes drilled and then the center mat installed. Okay, now that we got the holes all drilled out, I can go ahead and install the center mat. I like to start from the front and kind of work my way back. If you do one side, you can have a harder time doing it because you have to stretch the center mat over to put the other screws in. All right. Okay, so I got the center mat on. That was a little bit of a pain, but be patient and you'll be able to do it no problems. I did have to get some longer screws because the ones that came with them weren't long enough to go through the trim, the mat, and into the frame. So keep that in mind if you're going to do this project. You're going to need some number 4 1/2-inch screws. Okay, now to the part that really sucks. Installing brand new floor trim on a freshly painted bike. As you can see, I mean, I've got it all taped up, you know, just so minimize the chances of scratching it. I still need to kind of, you know, bend and wiggle these pieces to actually contour the frame, especially the outer piece. The outer piece is actually 2 pieces. It's this one that hasn't been bent at all, so I gotta mess with that, and then this one that goes over that. And once I do that, I have to drill all the holes. So again, you know, it's best to do this before you paint the bike. That way, after it's painted, you know this stuff is already fitted, and you can easily just rivet it on and not have to worry about bending anything over metal. So yeah, keep that in mind before you get the bike painted. Okay, so the tool you're going to need for this job is this SIP floor riveter. I'm sure there are other ways to do the job, but it's hard enough for me with the tool, so I can't imagine how bad it'll be without. So do yourself a favor and get one of these. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is drill the end holes. Some have already been done from the manufacturer, but most of them have not. The reason being is that on this bike, I don't know why, but they went ahead and filled out the front ones. So I can go ahead and drill this and not really have to worry about, you know, if they'll line up or not. So let's go ahead and do that. The tools you're going to need is a drill, obviously, and a 9/64 bit. I have no idea what that is in metric, but here in the States, standard sizes are much easier to get. So that's what I'm going to use. So we're going to start by putting an end cap on and kind of just drilling straight through like that. Okay, that way I have the hole already. I don't have to do it on the frame and ruin the paint. So let's make sure that fits correctly. Just so. It's like that. Okay, so I'm going to do that through the rest of them. Alright, now that we've got all the holes drilled on the ends, here, I'm going to start with this edge piece here. This piece is actually the hardest one. I'll probably try to do, I'm going to do this in real time, but the rest of them I'll probably do a time lapse just so I don't bore you to death. So I went ahead and bent this kind of into shape the best I could. And it's actually two pieces on the end here, one on the bottom and then one on the top. So you kind of have to work both pieces, which makes it even harder. But I've already done that. I kind of bent it into shape, and just by doing that, I already started scratching the paint up here, but it's not bad. The end cap should cover it up just fine. So my advice is just to, you know, take your time, you know, be patient and just do, you know, one part at a time. So the first thing I'm going to do is kind of drill that hole there, put the end cap and rivet in, just so something is holding the back part up in place while I drill the rest of these holes and kind of just work the way up all the way to the top. Once I get to the top, I will install the rubber, and then I'll drill a hole for the end cap, and then finish it off. So let's start by doing this one. Okay, so I got the hole drilled through the frame here. Next up is putting the end cap on the rivet. So it's going to be the end cap through the first floor rail, and then through the second floor rail, and straight through the frame. Now this rivet is actually too long for my actual rivet tool here, so I got to cut it down just a little bit. So you can see I already started cutting it down. Cut it down to about right there. That should be good enough. All right. Now the tool comes with two anvils, a flat one and a domed one. Okay, for the end caps you need to use the domed one. The flat one is for the rivets to go along the side here. All right, so on the tool, with the anvil like this, and it goes over the rivet like this, like that. Let me just peel that. There you go, like that. So once I get it in there like that, I kind of spin this bottom part up until it touches the rivet. I know it's hard to see, I'm sorry, but once you have it touching the rivet on the bottom, you kind of just give it a squeeze like this. So I'm gonna lightly do it for now, just so it's holding it in place, but you know, now it'll give me some wiggle room if I have to make any drastic adjustments. So it should look something like that once you're after you crimp it. All right, that's that. Now get back up. Now I can actually work my way to the front since the back is crimped down. So this frame still fortunately has some holes drilled. So what I'm going to do is follow what's already drilled. See down here, hole here, and then one up here. The size for this is an 1/8 inch drill bit. So yeah, let me do that one by one, and eventually we'll get to the top. Okay, so for the first rivet on the edge here, I'm just gonna kind of look and see where the hole's already drilled into the floor rail, and then kind of just drill it in the general vicinity of that hole down the middle. All right, so I know it's hard to see, but you know, I'm already having a hard time doing with this thing moving all over the place. So like I said, it's better to do this before the scooter gets painted. with the back kind of loose, I'm able to kind of swing it off the frame to finish drilling. Once I actually have everything riveted down the sides, I will go ahead and go back to finish riveting it correctly. So that's good. All right, so we got a hole drilled through it and a rivet through. See, it kind of goes through the top rail, middle rail, or lower rail, and then through the frame. So as I said before, these things don't really fit as well as what the factory had. Reason being is, you know, who knows how many times this scooter's been laid down and how bent this is. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to do my best to get this rail on, but it's never going to be as good as, you know, what came from the factory. All right. Okay, as I mentioned before, for these edge rivets, they're a little smaller, 1/8 inch hole, and you're going to be using the flat anvil that comes with the tool. So same thing as at the end cap. The flat anvil, I kind of had to modify this because, as you can see, I ground down the side so it can actually fit into this floor rail. It's the same idea. You kind of push down on the tool, turn this thing up until it touches the rivet, and just squeeze. Like this. Okay. All right. Still a little loose. I need to go a little tighter. Okay. There you go. All there is to it. Gotta keep going, doing this until I get to the front, and then we can put the rubber on. So I'll do that. I'll come back when I'm at the front. Okay, so I went ahead and drilled the rest of these holes here, put in the rivets. Now I'm all the way at the end. So let me show you how to put the rubber on, and then we will push down on the front here and drill the last hole and put the end cap on, and then we should be done. Okay, now we're at the point where we're going to install the rubber. It comes in a pretty big roll. Don't cut it. Feed whatever you need into the rail, and once you get to about here, then cut it. Okay. I like to put some kind of a lubrication on this which makes it a little easier. I actually have tire mounting paste, so I like to put some of that on here, just so I can slide this on there easier. I'm sure that you can use other stuff to help you, but I use tire mounting paste because I have a big jug of it. So once you got that on there, slide down like this. You kind of just push down with your right hand and kind of pull it with your left hand. Eventually you'll get to the end. Yeah, see, it's already getting tough. But without the tire paste, it would be even harder. So keep trying to get this all the way down. Yeah, that's tough. Ooh. At this point, as you can see, I had to remove the rubber and apply more tire paste in order to get it around that turn on the end. Okay, so we went and cut the rubber. Now we gotta put the end cap on and drill the hole on the end here, just like this. Remember, it's a 9/32 drill bit, and there you go. You want to hold the rail tight to the frame before you actually drill. All right. After this, we'll rivet it and we'll be done with the first rail. Okay, hole there. Okay, so I got the hole drilled at the end of the rail here for the end cap. And I got the end cap here. And a rivet. I'm gonna do the same thing as far as crimping this on. That nice and tight. Again, you don't need that much rivet on the end, so I'll probably cut it about right here. Now, if you had the factory trim crimped onto here, this floor actually goes onto the factory trim, and then you drill a hole through the factory trim and the frame before you rivet it in place. But the owner of this thing bought the kind of the clip-on trim, so we don't need to do that. All right, so let's get this thing crimped on, and we'll be done with the first rail. Okay, just like that. Like I said before, it's not impossible, but it's a little difficult. You got to be very patient. Do one thing at a time, and then eventually you'll have a final product that looks like this. Pretty good. Okay, now that we got the end trim on, we can work on the middle ones. These are a lot easier because they're only one piece. Okay, it's kind of just like on the first one, you kind of match up the last hole, you kind of space it correctly, and then we're going to drill from the bottom through the rail, just so we can use the existing holes. Okay, watch your spacing here to here, all the way up. Same thing with the next one over. Okay, it should look something like that when it's done. Okay, so I got the floor trim all installed on this one side. I do have to admit that I screwed up a little bit. Usually it's kind of like a descending angle here. I don't know why, but this rail came longer than the original, so I installed it that way. I mean, it doesn't look bad, obviously, but, you know, it's not right. And I'm the first one to admit that I screwed up. So, yeah, it is a little screwed up, but good thing is, customer got this nice chrome trim. And this actually slides over the entire thing, so you're not even going to be able to know once this is installed. So I am going to leave it the way it is, and do the same thing on the other side. Yep, again, yeah, I screwed up, and I am going to admit it, so you guys don't make the same mistake I did. Okay, so yeah, pay attention when you pull this kit out of the bag and kind of lay it out a little, before you install everything. Usually these holes are here from the factory, and I would have immediately noticed, but since they got filled in, I got a little confused. But it's not an excuse. Like I said, I screwed up, but luckily the trim should be able to cover this, and you'll never be able to see it anyway. All right, see this beautiful chrome trim that the customer got? As I was saying, it slips over this part anyway, so you'll never be able to tell that I kind of messed up. Yeah, so we'll move on to the other side. All right, now on to the left side. Already shown you how it's done, so I will just do a time lapse on this side. Enjoy. All right, there you have it. Floor trim, leg shield trim, complete. In the next video, we'll be installing the cables and the wiring, putting the headset on, and remember, we got to go back and torque the front end probably. All right then, if you guys have enjoyed the video so far, please remember to like and subscribe. It's going to be a minute for me to get back to making these videos. I have to get ready for a rally this weekend. If you guys are in the DMV area, make sure you check out the Mods vs. Rockers rally down in Lynchburg, Virginia. If you guys can make it, come by and say hi. For now, I'll show you a better video of the finished product. Take care, guys.